Hi everyone, this is Richard Wilkinson with my review of George Marsden's book, Outrageous Ideas of Scholarship. And this review is going to take a little bit of a different approach. To do this, I looked at some other reviews people did. I looked at Professor Perot's review, Professor McElroy's review, and Marsden's response to those reviews. Perot states that Marsden's thesis is that religious beliefs are so integral to who we are, that our thoughts, words, actions, how we look at things, our choices, what we study, is all based off of our beliefs. Well, McElroy splits up Marsden's arguments into three major categories. The first is that universities stigmatize faith-informed scholarship, and the rules they apply to them, they don't apply to other ideologies. Two, that Marsden says that informed scholarship has a legitimate role if it follows the rules of scholarship. And three, that Marsden says that faith-informed scholarship can help academic life, and taking away that, stigmatizing it, demeans those who have faith. Marsden thinks that Perot misunderstands him. Perot sees him as kind of contradictory, but Marsden tries to explain that in his response. McElroy, I think Marsden likes a little bit better in how he views it. And he says that Marsden has it really right when he talks about how we are dependent on principles that can't be scientifically established. There's no way to scientifically establish morals, equality, things like this. There just isn't scientific basis for them. What I wanted to talk a little bit about was an argument that Perot made in relation to Marsden's book. And so Perot uses evolutionary theory and creation to talk about how there's these two ideas, both come from human experience. One more so, evolution more from human experience, where creation, even though we can see things around us, it's coming from the revelation of God through the Bible. And the problem comes when we're trying to say what one is more correct, because this one, evolution, has empirical data where creationism doesn't. And what I want to mention is, or talk about, is how this idea of Christian scholarship, Christian knowledge, Christian worldview, while extremely important, hinges on, or the whole argument of this hinges on, I think, a misunderstanding of the different types of knowledge. And so we have scientific knowledge that we see is very empirical, based on our five senses, right? If we can feel it, touch it, see it, smell it, taste it, have some way of measuring it, measuring differences in this, doing experiments on it, in a very tactile sense, using our five senses methods. But religious knowledge, we can't do that with. Religious knowledge is based on our personal experiences, but even with it being based on our personal experiences, it is still empirical. And if we read the book of John, we read about how Christ says, if you would know of the doctrine of yourself, then do it. We read about the tree and knowing the fruit, the tree by its fruit. And this is both in reference to knowing about the doctrine that Christ is teaching. But this is a much more personal. Just because, say, I have a religious experience, that doesn't mean someone else does, because maybe they just don't want it. Maybe they go through the motions, but they don't actually do it. And so it makes it really easy for people to reject religion more so than to reject a scientific worldview. And I think we see this in scholarship, is that it is a lot easier to reject a religious view of why things happen, the religious backing framework of morality, because this is hard, it requires more of us, and it's not as easy to justify as a scientific experiment is. I do think that Marsden is correct, that we need a Christian worldview, we need Christian scholarship. That is very much central to who we are as Christians. and it dictates a lot of what we do, everything we do, or should. Thank you for listening, and have a wonderful day.